This is 9.4, homework number 1. And in this particular section, we are looking at factoring to solve equations. We've been looking at factoring rules for the last several weeks, and now we're going to use those factoring rules in other types of problems. So first, let's look at this, what I consider the easy one. This is called the zero product property. And what it says is, for any real numbers, a and b, if ab, so if a times b equals 0, then a is equal to 0, or b is equal to 0. And that kind of makes sense if you think about it. So, because in order to multiply something times 0, you're going to get 0. So one of these is equal to 0. So what we're going to do is take each factor and set it equal to 0. Remember, factors are just two numbers that are multiplied together. A and B. A times B, that's a factor. A and B are factors. Factors of 6 are 2 times 3 and 1 times 6. These are factors. So when you see something that's being multiplied, then those are called factors. So x plus 3 times x plus 2, those are factors. So we're taking each factor, setting it equal to 0, and then we're going to solve. So these are what we call solutions to these equations. So these are solutions. Sometimes they may say find the x-intercepts. That's the same thing, okay, as finding the solutions. They also may say find the zeros. Okay, so that is also the same thing as finding the solution. So those are three different things that they may say. There's some other things they may say, but not in this. We won't look at that in Algebra 1. You'll look at that in Algebra 2. All right, so let's look at some examples from your homework. All right, so first we're looking at the zero product property. These are already factored for you. They're already in factored form. So you're going to take each factor, set it equal to 0, and solve for x. So we have one solution is -6. Another solution is +5. When you type it in, it doesn't matter which one comes first. You can write -6, 5, or you can write 5, -6. Make sure you understand you have to use a comma to separate the answers. Number 2, again, same thing. We're going to take each factor, set it equal to 0, and solve. So add 3. One solution is 3. Over here, we're subtracting 1. 0 minus 1 is -1. Divide by 3. X is equal to -1/3. So our two solutions here are 3, comma, -1/3. Again, use a comma. You do not need to type x equals. They typed it for you. So all you do is type in the numbers. All right, number 3. Again, using the zero product property. Each factor, now this is considered a factor because -9n is being multiplied times 2n minus 5. So -9n is a factor. And then, of course, 2n minus 5 is a factor. So it doesn't have to be a binomial in order to be a factor. It can be a monomial also. So divide by -9. Anytime you have 0 on the top, that means the answer is 0. So one of our solutions is 0. Another one, we're going to add 5 to both sides. Divide by 2. N equals 5/2. And just leave it as a fraction. You don't have to make these into decimals unless they specify. So 0, comma, 5/2. All right, let's look at one more. Again, we're going to take each factor, set it equal to 0, and solve. So add 7. And notice the work I'm showing. I'm showing you how I'm setting up the equation. I'm showing you how I solve the equation. So you need to do that for each factor. So x is equal to -9/4. Another solution, 7/8. and negative 9/4. So they wrote the solution set is, they already put the braces in, you're just putting in the numbers. So this is one way of writing a solution set. Another way is where they have the x equals. So they already have that for you. You just have to plug in the numbers in the blank. All right, now you can also use the zero product property to solve equations of the form ax squared plus bx plus c equals 0. If the quadratic expression ax squared plus bx plus c can be factored. Okay, I will tell you every single one we're going to do can be factored. So we have it equal to 0. This is what they call standard form. Okay, it's whenever you have the left side in order from left to in order from left to right, descending order of the exponents, and then it's equal to 0. So I'm going to take this part of the equation, r squared plus 10r plus 24, and I'm going to factor it. So that'll be r plus 6, r plus 4 equals 0. Now you've done enough factoring by now. If you want to, you should know how to do these, but without having to write down the FOIL. But it would help if you either write it down, or use mental math to make sure that you got the correct factors. Because if you miss the factors, you will miss the solutions. Okay, so subtract 6. So r equals negative 6, and r equals negative 4. So the solution is r equals negative 6 and negative 4. And again, use a comma to separate the answers as needed. All right, one more. We're going to take p squared plus 4p minus 12 equals 0. Factor. So that's p plus 6, p minus 2. Now we're going to take each factor, set it equal to 0, and solve. So p equals negative 6, and p equals positive 2. So it's kind of like we were doing with factoring. We just got to take it one step further and set each factor equal to 0 and find the solutions for the variable. All right, so now you're ready to try the homework.